Hello and welcome back to the community. I'm here with...
Bishop Trevor Alexander, the Protestant chaplain here at the University of Incarnate Word.
and today we are going to talk about basically like him as a person and what he's been through and experiences like that, so that y'all can also see how y'all connect with him, how y'all can understand that maybe if he's different race, different religion, different backgrounds, y'all can still see that y'all mesh with him and y'all understand him as a person. So, what's called? Tell me a little bit about like yourself.
Well, that's a good question. Where to begin? Because there's so many different layers to me. So I was begin by saying this. Grew up in the UK. So I was born in the UK, but I also lived almost 6-7 years in the Caribbean. So my parents are from the islands of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, which is in the Caribbean. Yeah, and so
Awesome.
I pretty much for most part of my early development, I was a British West Indian. That's what we called ourselves back then. And at 16, went to New York City to live in New York City. 18, joined the military, retired from the military, been moving around quite a bit. Lived in Germany, Lord, about 7.5 years in Germany, 9 in Missouri, Louisiana, different places. But yeah, that's pretty much who I am. After retirement, I decided to, let me just start. I didn't decide because I was serving God at that time. Moved me here, my family here to San Antonio. We had no family here at that time. We now have an aunt and a brother-in-law. But at that time, we had no family. God just moved us here. And we had some close friends who were really like family. One of my good friends, Bishop John E. Hawker, would say, blood makes you kin, but love makes you family. If you follow that definition, then we are family. And so I've been around, graduated from Incarnate Word College / UIW, and went off to seminary, came back here to work about 28 years ago. So I've been here a long time.
Dang,
Yeah.
you've been all over the place.
Yeah.
That's actually amazing to like see, like, because what's it called? Nowadays there's a stigma against like foreigners like moving into America, coming in here, and like I think it's really important to see from let's just say foreigner's perspective, because you got to grow up in like the UK and then the Grenadine Islands and then now America, and they give you your service also, because I find it really like important, like when you serve for like the military, it's very like honorable and stuff like that.
And for many of us who serve, when people say that, we now say thank you, but we struggle with that. Like
Yeah.
when somebody say thank you for your service, but we didn't go in to get the thanks.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
but anyway, so thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, what's it called? But I'm really glad to like talk to you today, and so that they can see that like the stigma against foreigners is not true. Like they're not here to like take over America. So like that, like y'all are here helping America. Y'all want the best for America, and y'all want the best for the people. And as we've talked about in class, he's my professor for my religions class. What's it called? Like we gotta look out for one another.
Yeah.
We gotta love thy neighbor. And I feel like especially nowadays, it's hard to see that especially in America, because there's so much hate towards our neighbor.
And that's sad for me, right? Because I believe one of my mission in life is to help people be the best version of themselves they can be.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard to be your best version in isolation, right? And sometimes it's in the interaction with others that you begin to become your best version. I think about the prodigal son, the Good Samaritan. Two people walked by him, and for the sake of the discussion, they represent the church, right? But the one who stopped to render aid is the outcast. If he had walked by him too, this wounded soul would have been left for dead. But somebody took the risk to go and render aid, and unfortunately, it was the outcast. Right?
Yeah.
So how do we begin to become the best version of ourselves in isolation? Many of our homes, including mine, I have a privacy fence around me. right? I have, you can press a button, the garage opens up, you press a button and closes down. And for years, you wave to your neighbors and drive on in. Till I went to a seminar by Father Ron Rolheiser, who at the time was the president of Oblate School of Theology, my other alma
Ooh,
mater.
okay.
Yeah, and he shared that we have designed our homes for privacy, but we're not very neighborly. And I thought about that. That was good. But I didn't realize how much that was true till I went to visit my sister who lived in New Jersey at the time, in Morristown, New Jersey. And many of their homes in this, because it's a very old colonial style town, and the homes are like 5 feet apart from each other. You can literally talk to your neighbors. No privacy fence. And I was like, man, I'm barbecuing, and I'm talking to both her neighbors, and I realized I knew her neighbors more than I knew mine. And I was like, that's sad. So I took the barbecue pit from my backyard and moved into my garage. Then I started barbecuing in my driveway. And when the people walk by walking their dog or just taking a walk, we started waving, and somebody said, hey, give me a hot dog, right? Jokingly. Before you knew it, I said, come on over. Right? Next thing you know, I'm fixing the plate to go, or they're sitting eating hot dogs. We get to know each other. Then my next door neighbor did it. One across the street did it. Almost everybody in my neighborhood now barbecues in the driveway. And that's because you cannot be the best version of yourself in isolation.
I find that really true because what's called, like growing up in the neighborhood that I did, we were a very tight-knit community. Like what's called, the neighborhood was filled with a lot of kids. And kids, they, like growing up, you don't have that feeling of anxiety. You don't have that feeling of like all the stuff that weighing down on you. You see another kid and you're like, I want to be that friends with that kid. So then I think that brought our community together because like the street was filled with like 10 different kids, like a bunch, and we'd all play outside. So then the parents, they're like, okay, well our kids are friends with their kids,
Right.
so might as well become friends with them. And it made this tight-knit community where like on holidays we would all spend time together. Like we would have group Easter egg hunts. So our whole entire street had the Easter eggs around it. What's it called, for like summertime we would go to like one of their houses and put out like the slip and slide pool, do all that stuff. Halloween, we did group Halloween sessions. So then everyone on the street would be at that one house, and all the parents are like in the circle around the driveway, and so like the trick-or-treaters can go up and get one from each.
But you
house
form
technically.
community.
Exactly.
Right? I remember in my neighborhood, this is in 2020, this has got to be around about August, and the ice cream truck came by, right? This is when we're still wearing our masks and everything, right? Yeah. And these kids were playing outside, and they ran inside. One kid came out, and he's smiling. The other kid came out, and he's crying.
Oh.
One's got money, one don't. So the one with the money buys this ice cream cone or whatever, right? And he's licking, and they're sharing back and forth. Now, this is a COVID time, right?
Prime COVID.
Right? But I'm sitting there watching them. And I said to myself, wow, this child has money. His friend doesn't. His friend is sad because he can't get ice cream, but he's willing to share.
Yeah.
What a powerful lesson that is. And by the way, they were two different nationalities too, right?
Wow.
And they were sharing back and forth. And I'm like, nobody, at this point, I didn't really care about the COVID thing, because they didn't, right?
Yeah, no.
I don't know how much they really knew about COVID, but the fact that he was willing to share, that's what community is.
Yeah.
Share your resources. And that's biblical, actually, from the book of Acts chapter 2. Share your resources.
Okay.
That makes, if I have, and you have, you have, I have, because we can share with each other.
Yeah, speaking on which, there was this powerful story that you told in class where it was, I think it was during the freeze, you said, the power outage that happened, and your side had electricity.
We had electricity, the other, and no water, and the other side of the street, different, right across the street, they had water and no electricity, but the community came together.
Exactly. I think that's really important, because when you like distance yourself from others, like let's say you and me were neighbors, and I wanted nothing to do with you. Well, now when I struggle and I have no water, then I'm only making a detriment to myself. And then since I put up that wall against you, you are also suffering from it. But if we were just friends and like we talked, like it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're best friends.
Right.
It's just looking out for your neighbor and being like neighborly and being like, oh, hey, you don't have any water. Look, like, you want to come to my house and I can heat up your ramen for you, or like I can water it for your ramen.
Or a cup of coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
and so like I think creating those bonds and like you said with the kids, like they're two different nationalities. They're like probably different income levels, or at least like just one's more conservative with the money and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so it like I really admire kids on that fact is that they don't see color, they don't see wealth, they don't see anything like that. They just see a person. And I think as we grow older, we begin to see all that because like maybe like the political climate it divides like the races and then so then you're like, well, you're black, I'm white, you're Asian, I'm like Hindu or whatever. And then like what's it called, it creates that divide. Meanwhile kids they don't see that divide.
Right. Kids are not born racist.
Exactly.
They're not born with hate. They learn this behavior.
Yeah.
And we just had a class with Chaplin Christian just presented adverse childhood experiences. And somewhere along the line, we develop these things, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they come in there with this clean slate, and somewhere along the line, that slate starts drawing upon, and it comes out ugly, and then we become adults trying to work through all of that madness. It's hard. It's hard. But children are not racist. They're not hateful.
Yeah.
They come in and it's taught. Sometimes in the home, sometimes in the school. It's taught somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will admit I've grown up in that kind of like field. Like I want to say my dad's like innately a racist. Like he has a lot of friends in different nationalities, different races, but he would grow like when I would grow up, he would make fun of my older brother, saying like, oh, he dates black girls, he dates black girls. So then me being a kid, I didn't understand that, and you're free to laugh about this. This is horrible on my part, and I can't believe I'm admitting this on camera. What's it called? We were at the supermarket one day, and we're going up to the cash register, and it's this African American lady, and me not knowing any better, just because my dad like instilled this into me, I look at her and I'm like, my older brother dates black girls.
No, you didn't say that.
I said that. My dad's cracking up. My mom is ready to beat my dad because
He put that in your head.
yeah, because he put that in my head, and me, younger me, I didn't know that was like
Right.
is innately kind of like racist and
Right.
kind of like limiting, like creating all that stigma.
Right.
And it's so like I say that, and my dad's laughing, so I'm like, okay, it's a good thing. But then my mom says otherwise. I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Wait,
It could have been taken another way, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So then growing up, I realized like wait, hold up, can't listen to what my dad's saying over here because that's gonna get me in trouble. and like me, like as a kid, I didn't even think there was anything wrong with it at the time. I was just stating what I believed to be a fact.
Yeah.
But just me stating that could lead the thought that maybe I thought something was wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, wait, no.
Yeah.
Cannot be doing that. Oh my gosh. That's a memory that I will always laugh, but I will like forever be like a little bit embarrassed about
I wonder what that woman said to her children or to her husband or her partner when she got home. I was in a store, and this young man walked up to say, my brother dates black women. I wonder what went through her head.
Dude, that would like eat me up inside if like one day I randomly saw her and she's like, "Oh, I remember you."
Yeah,
nope,
yeah,
nope,
yeah.
please do not.
That wasn't me. That was my twin. Yeah.
Who? I don't know this guy. I've always lived in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Alright, so I do have some questions like lined up. Let's go. I prepped them like a little bit beforehand, just so that like I can stay true to like the message of this channel and stuff like that. So what has being an immigrant in America been like? Like have you faced any like stigma against you and like what was your experience like that?
I would tell you, I'm older, so I grew up in the 70s in the United States. 60s mostly in the UK.
Okay.
I'm not going to say UK is not racist too. They have racism everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But I experienced racism in the 70s, the latter part of the 70s, 77s, 76, 77.
Wow.
It was bad.
Yeah, and that's kind of when like things were like changing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We 64, we signed the integration, the Congress signed to integrate schools, but there was no preparation. There was no lessons, right? You just said, okay,
wow.
now integrate the schools, right? So can you imagine, let me give you a good example. Right?
Okay.
I'm working now. I went through the British school system, so I graduated at 16.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm working in a department store in Flatbush, New York, and I'm dating a young woman. She lives in Far Rockaway, right? This is predominantly a white Italian neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
We never went out in that area, but I would drop her off,
Okay.
right? So I drop her off at her home, and every time I go in this neighborhood, there's a cop car behind me,
Oh
right?
no.
And yeah, I drop her off, and I make a left, and I make the second left, and I get pulled over every single time. Same cops, by the way.
Every
Right? And
single
then
time,
what
same
you doing
car.
here? I said, come on, man. You saw me just drop off this young lady, right? Yes. What you doing here? And almost getting emotional by that because I had to get out of the car every single
Yeah.
time. Put my hand on the hood.
Oh
Now you
shoot.
know the hood is hot
Yeah.
from the engine.
Yeah. It's
Now I got the heat right there, right? And I had to lay my hand flat on the hood. I used to try to put my fingertips and push it down, right? Now they're asking me a bunch of questions that has nothing to do with anything, but my hands are still on this hood.
Yeah.
Every time
Yeah.
I try to move it, they push it back down. And unfortunately, that relationship lasted maybe 2 weeks
Yeah.
because I couldn't. Could a relationship have grown? Maybe. But because I didn't want to subject myself to that type of treatment, I would go home, driving to I lived in Queens at this time.
Okay.
Driving to Queens, tears in my eyes because I'm angry, I'm mad, but I can't do nothing
Oh,
about
yeah,
it. The
I
sense of
bet.
powerlessness, yeah. And so that happens frequently, right? And so, the stop and frisk is nothing new. I experienced that. It's just unfortunate,
Yeah.
that because of the color of my skin, I become a problem to somebody.
Yeah, just by looking at you, like it's kind of like the famous quote, like don't
Judge a book by the
there you
cover.
go,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
one, like they immediately saw through the window of your car, like, oh, okay, he's African American, he's like black, so let me profile him
Yeah.
and pull him over because clearly he's doing something wrong if
Right.
he's in this heavily white neighborhood.
Very much. But it's the same cops every single time.
Yeah.
It's like I'm the same guy you pulled over yesterday.
Yeah,
Right?
nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed from yesterday.
The other thing
to
changed was
today.
my clothes. That was it. And then well, fast forward now, I'm in the military. Right? You would think, the military had started integrating what 54, 55.
Okay, so a little bit more time.
Yeah, but it's still having this treatment, right? So I'm overseas, my first duty station. I'm in Germany, and I still have this British accent, right? And so now here's this little piece I'm going through. I'm still trying to find myself. I'm 18 years old now. Haven't had a really good I've had some really good experiences here and there,
Yeah.
but I've had some negative experiences. I figured military got to be safe. So I'm in front duty station, and then all of a sudden I get this, hey, who are you, man? I'm like, okay, but are you black? Yeah, but you don't sound black. Oh, I didn't know blackness had a sound. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Okay.
when I walk in a room,
Yeah,
a sound comes off.
Yeah, there
like-
got to be a sound, right? So I figured, well, I'm not well received with my black brothers, so I go hang out with the white guys. Hey, you don't sound right, right? Because this British accent is still strong.
Yeah.
So you really too dark to be one of us, and so I couldn't find a group to hang out with, right?
Wow.
And then they came up with this nickname, and I hated this nickname, and the nickname was "We's Not." I'm gonna finish what they say.
Okay.
We's not black. We's not white. We's not know who we are. And so because of that, I spent hours in front of the mirror practicing to sound more American.
That's
Yes,
crazy.
yeah.
I find that crazy because I've heard not that exact thing, of course, but like I've heard things like that before where it's like someone says like you're not something
Yeah.
or like you're not enough of something, so then they like the person goes home and
You want
like
to close the door so we
practices.
don't get the background noise from back there?
Oh yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what's it called? They go home and practice so much
Yes.
to fit the stigma that they're being told that they're not.
Yeah.
Because I think part of it has to do with like some like superiority complex because like for instance probably like those Americans thought like, oh, Americans are superior, so like you're not one of us.
Right.
So you're like a lower thing. So then you probably was like, okay, I want to fit in.
I gotta fit in somewhere. 'Cause remember, I'm
Exactly.
18.
Yeah.
I gotta find this group of friends somewhere.
Exactly.
And so I figured I went to people who like me, who rejected me. So I go to the other side, and obviously they gotta like me. No. And so I spent much of my early part in Germany for 6 months or so, wandering around trying to figure out. I mean, there's a few people I could sit and talk with, but nobody who I really hung out with, because I couldn't find a group, and that was painful.
Yeah.
Because I'm still trying to identify with whatever it means, right? Yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
Yeah. Do you think that like impacted you on like how you saw others and maybe were like struggling to find friends and stuff like that? Maybe that made you like more open to be
Oh,
like, hey,
without
come on in,
for
come
sure,
on in.
for sure. I look for people, and I still do to a certain degree, the underdogs. I really look for, even when I'm watching this game, right? And if you're not one of my teams, okay, then I always root for the underdogs, right? I don't care if it's Goliath, David versus Goliath. I'm going to root for David all day long, right? Because I know what it's like to be an underdog. I know what it's like to be an outcast. So I'm always trying to make sure somebody's rooting for the ones that nobody wants.
Yeah. What's so funny that you mentioned teams? I was also going to mention like, oh, is that why you support West Ham over here?
Yeah, I know, man. So he's hitting a very sore topic with me right now. I watch the British League, Premier League, and my team is West Ham United, which I've been that fan ever since I can remember. And they are virgin on being relegated this season. They're number 3 from the bottom, and in the British system, the last 3 teams get demoted.
Yeah.
And my team is struggling. I'm still going to support them regardless.
Hey,
Yeah.
doing
They're
that-
the underdogs, though.
That's
Yeah.
that's the most important thing is that you still support them because like what's it called I of course also watch the British Premier League, and of course me and my friends we all support our teams and stuff like that, and when we started like supporting teams like I stuck with Liverpool like dead like following them. But then there was one of our friends, and he would jump between teams. Like of course, there's the banter between like everybody.
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
like oh, your team's facing relegation. Sucks to be y'all like we're at the top or whatever. Like things like that. Like and he supported Chelsea, so of course we're gonna like joke with him about like how they spend $1 billion but don't win anything.
They don't win anything. Yeah.
And then so he jumped to supporting Man City, and then we were like. Okay, now you're trying to join the team with no fans to be like over here, and then he jumped to Tottenham, and then back
They're
to
not
Chelsea.
winning. They're not winning nothing either.
Yeah, they were joking with him like, oh, get ready for no trophies, and then he jumped back to Chelsea, and like, part of me was kind of like, hey, like, pick a team. Settle
with
with
it, man.
Stick
Yes.
with it. Like
Yeah.
stick through like thick and thin because. Like with Tottenham, like they won a trophy last year, like surprisingly.
But
Like,
they're not
shocked
gonna win
everybody.
this year.
Yeah, no,
No.
definitely not doing it this year. Like Tottenham is one of my underdog teams where it's like they're good, but they're not good enough. And like each time I root for them a little bit, like whenever they like get close to a final or like anything like that, I'm like, come on, you like just.
And then you get
just
disappointed because they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Liverpool will always be my thing, and I mentioned it in some videos. I think what like made me like wholeheartedly choose Liverpool and like stick with Liverpool was their mantra, their motto, you'll never walk alone.
That's true.
And that was a big thing for me. And I think like with some of the stuff I faced in life where like I felt like at an all-time low, I felt down, I realized that there will always be somebody that like has my same outlook. There's somebody that has my same like experiences. And so maybe I just need to find them and like I can connect with them and they'll understand me. And by then I won't be walking alone.
True.
And I found that really like truthful whenever I took your class, and I'll ask you this question because you didn't answer it whenever we were in class. Whenever you asked the question,
What keeps you up at night?
what keeps you up at night? What's it called? After class, a lot of people came up to me and like thanked me for telling the story on that, and like some of them were like, I don't understand it, but like thank you for telling me because now I see a different outlook. And like things with like that, like it helped me realize that like maybe they don't even have to have the same exact experiences as me, but just knowing that there's somebody that like wants to hear me like speak or wants to hear like what I've been through, it means that I'm not walking alone.
So what keeps me up at night?
Yep. What keeps you up at night?
I'm going to tell you, and I'm struggling. Christianity.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. I see, and you've heard me say this, I think we are representing Jesus Christ in a very poor way. You got one side of Christianity who is pro-hate, pro-love. And for me, I can't reconcile the both.
Yeah.
Right? I don't understand. I can't support a Christian that says if you're an immigrant and you die, you came here illegal, and that's okay. I'm not saying it's wrong to break the law, but because you broke the law and you die, it's not okay for me. Right? And so I got the other side of Christianity, which I tend to lean to. You know, when Matthew 25, you know, when I was hungry, you fed me. I was naked, you clothed me. When I was in prison, you visit me. When I was sick, you helped me and make me well. And you like, when did I do this, Lord? When you do to the least of these, you do it unto me. That's the Christianity I ascribe to. So I struggle with how will people hear the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ when the church is speaking with multiple languages and we're not sounding alike. And that keeps me up at night because, you know, I've been in ministry for 37 years. I don't think I've struggled as much as I've done in the last 2 years, maybe 3, with the voice of Christianity.
Yeah.
And being a King scholar. And Dr. King came out of an era when we were struggling for, fighting for civil rights. But the church had a voice, even though there was a separate voice. And he had addressed some of those issues. But I'm still thinking, why are we still struggling when we signed bills and passed laws, but the voice still sounds like the voices of the 60s, the voices of the 50s. And what would it take for us to, and I'm not saying we ought to have to become one church, like everybody can become this. You can still be who you are in your various churches, but can our voices sound more like Jesus?
Yeah, like what's it called? I think that's really important because like with Jesus, like I'm not heavily religious, but I did grow up in a very religious household and stuff like that. Like growing up, I learned that like, I mean, Jesus himself was a Jew, and like I think a lot of Christians, or at least Christians that lean the way that we were talking about, don't recognize that, and so then when they see a Jewish person, they think, oh yeah, they're nothing like me, so like that. Well, you hold Jesus up here, up this high, but then hold Jews low. Well, Jesus was a Jew, and so like, what's it called? Jesus taught love and care and said, you know what? Even if you like are a different religion or something like that, I still care about you,
Right.
and I still love you. And like you were saying about the quote from Matthew where it was talking about like the feeding and the clothing and all that stuff, like whenever he turned like the little amount of fish into a whole entire feast.
Sharing, that was again, look at this. A little boy came there to have his own lunch, but then he offered up his lunch so others could be fed.
Exactly.
Right? And I don't know much about the little boy's background because it's not necessary, but the stories he offered and others ate. I can sit in spaces where like the imam came and gave that presentation to our class. I've known him for...
I'm so glad you brought him up.
Yeah, I've known him for years. And we've been out to breakfast together. 2 different faiths, but we deeply care about our communities. And we can work together, and we have worked together. And I'm not trying to convert him. He's not trying to convert me. We're looking at where are the problems in our society that we can collaborate with to help make it better.
Yeah.
And that's, for me, is what the incarnate word of Christ is, right? Being incarnate, and how do I take this love of Christ into the community? And just because you're not Christian, don't mean to say I can't love you.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't help you, right? And I think that's where the voice is becoming muddy. And it's scary to me because we are moving into the very isolationism, and we've been there before. It didn't work well,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so those I still struggle and keep me up at night, and I pray. I got other folks who feel like me. We get together and we pray, and I sit with the imam, with a Hindu, and we all have the same. What is it going to take to heal our nation?
That's awesome. Like I think it's also important to get like different aspects from other religions, other cultures, because, like for instance, like you grew up in the UK. What's it called? Like even though like the UK is predominantly like white, and so is the US to an extent. What's it called? Like we still have vastly different cultures in there, and like maybe like our like I don't know like a certain race, like maybe like our African Americans are very different from y'all's UK Africans.
Yeah, well, we are.
Yeah.
And we we all seem to congregate with people we can resonate with.
Exactly.
Right. So in the UK, in my neighborhood, there was only 2 black families.
Really?
When I went to school, there was only 8 of us black. Yes, sir. But however, on the weekends, my father played cricket, right, which is a very British West Indian sport,
Yeah.
and they formed a team, and all of these Caribbean folks had different teams, and so again, still in the UK, but the cultures are coming together, and they're playing, and they got leagues and dominoes. I still remember those days, right?
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
we always seem to find something that we could relate to, or people we could relate to from the cultural background that we have, and I'm okay with that, right? What I'm not okay with is when we use those backgrounds to push people away or to
Yeah.
isolate. I'm not okay with that. 'Cause, if you never played cricket before, come on, let me teach you the game.
yeah,
My
exactly,
son-in-law has
exactly.
never played cricket, right? So I'm teaching. He's watching YouTube. I'm trying to teach him the game. He loves baseball. He's like, this is slow. Well, you think this is slow? Look at baseball, man.
Yeah,
Y'all go 10 hours. At least we
baseball
take
is-
breaks and have tea breaks and stuff. But we laugh at this stuff, right? But my point is, sharing the culture is another way of bringing the community together. When we use those things to isolate or push people away or to judge people, we're moving into some very difficult ground.
Yeah, I heavily agree with that, because like what's it called, like you of course like form your own culture, like cultural groups, like for instance I'm like Hispanic background, so then, like I formed a lot of friend groups with like a bunch of Hispanic kids. Like we go and eat at one of like their family's houses, and we have like tostadas.
Oh
and,
man, to see you talk my language,
oh my
food.
gosh.
Love me some
It's,
food.
it's so good. And what's it called? Like I grew up with that, and like for instance, my girlfriend's Filipina. What's it called? No, they Mexico and Philippines were both conquered by Spain, but they do have different foods to an extent and stuff like that. And like if she wanted to eat with us, I'm not gonna be like no.
Right.
Only for the
Right.
Hispanics. No, I'd be like, come on, like you can try this. Maybe bring a Filipino dish and we can try it.
Right. I've traveled around the world. I'm not all the places, countries.
Yeah.
Right. But I spent some time in Africa. And one of the greatest joy for me is to go into somebody's home and eat their food. Right.
yeah.
Because they want to be hospitable.
Exactly.
And they're going to put this dish on their food, on the table. And how dare I? Oh, what's that? Right? No,
Yeah.
I don't. I intentionally don't ask what it is. 'Cause I don't want to know.
Sometimes it's best not to know.
Yeah, because I want to know. But the joy they have when watching their faces when they put this food on the table, and they really want you to experience this. And that's the joy for me is, I always say 2 things are the international language: food and music.
Oh,
Those
yes,
are international
both of
language.
those are so good.
Yeah, and I've been to Filipino restaurants and tried certain dishes. I love food. Right.
Yeah.
My kids grew up like me. I take them to different restaurants, right? Because I want them to move out of their comfort zone. We've been when we used to have we call it SAM shelter, where homeless people will the house will go. Right. My kids volunteer with me. I want them to experience this because you you got a refrigerator and you make a choice. Some folks don't have that choice, right? So they went down to Mazatlan, Mexico. We tried to give our children the experience. Yeah, you grew up with a little bit, we're not rich. However, there's people who don't have what we have
Yeah.
and still treat them with respect. Yeah.
I feel like that was like a big aspect of growing up was that like it was kind of like even though my mom like she had money and she had money that she could spend, she instilled on me that like we're not rich by any means because there's so many people here even in Corpus where we're from like there's so many people here that are much richer than us, but what's called that there are people that have it worse off than us. So like growing up I understood that like I shouldn't complain as much like as I could about like certain things because you know what people do have it worse, and that like we can go and help them. And like my mom, she instilled on me from a young age about helping people. Like I would volunteer at the food shelter and we would pack like the meals and stuff like that and take it to their like the people's houses because HB had this like food drive thing around Christmas time where like there's a bunch of people that like are disabled, whether it be from war or like medical conditions, and they can't leave their house. So we would go to their house with the food box and hand it to them, and stuff like that. And then also there was a thing called Counting on Santa. If you, I don't know if it's only a Corpus thing, but what's called if you haven't heard of Counting on Santa, look it up. It's really like impactful and it really impacted me as a kid. It was basically where people would come together and buy gifts for kids that didn't have families or didn't have enough money to buy presents for the kids. So basically, it was supposed to be like gifts from Santa.
Right.
And I'm telling you, it was the most like beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like there would be like those like long like mess hall tables, and they're just filled to the brim with toys. Like, and there's like the giant like 6 foot tall teddy bears on there, and what's it called? I kind of became their little mascot because I started off at like 7 or 8 doing that until like I was like 14, and I would dress up in my elf pajamas, and so I was their little elf on the shelf technically.
Cute,
of,
cute.
of their Count on Santa, and I actually ended up in the Corpus Christi newspaper and news because of it. But yeah, what's it called? That I think that was a really impactful time in my life because I got to understand that like, man, I should be really thankful whenever I get that DS for Christmas, because there's kids that are barely getting presents, and like I should work hard to give them that.
See, and that's to me is being human. To see, to recognize, to do something. It's easy to see and not do, to drive by, walk by. That's the whole Good Samaritan story.
Exactly.
Right? Do I see it? Walk, see, and do. And I choose to see and do.
Yeah.
Right? Now, like I shared in class, I'm passionate about a lot of things, but I'm not able to do everything. So I join organizations that's doing it. And yeah, if I'm only just giving the fees or extra donations, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. But I'm doing something.
Yeah, exactly.
And if all of us can be busy doing something, even if it's nothing more than giving $100 a month or a week, whatever that is, you're still doing it. Because these organizations, most of the time, depend on their membership to sustain what they're doing. And if only I can do is give you, like in one organization, the fee is $100 a year.
Oh,
right?
Not
That's
at
cheap,
all. That's
right?
not bad at all.
But
for a
and
year.
every so often they send out these appeal letters. So whatever they're asking for, I do. But I'm not there in the trenches with them.
Yeah.
But my money is.
And I think that's what's important is that like you said, if you can't focus your time on it, you can focus your money on it with those that do have the time to focus on it. And that money goes a long way because like for instance, what I was talking about the Counting on Santa thing, what's it called? There was like there's people that wouldn't show up, but they would donate money. So then we would have this budget and we'd go to Walmart and we would fill up shopping carts full of the toys. Like we'd be like, oh, kids would like a skateboard, kids would like a bicycle. So we just toss it on in, all that stuff, and we would fill up the like checkout line with like 5 or 6 different cards at a time.
But the joy of seeing a child walking and their face light up, right?
Oh.
You cannot put a physical dollar to that joy. Yes, you bought it and it cost something, But how do you take the economics and associate it with joy? I don't know whatever equation that is. I don't know what that is.
don't know.
But sometimes the smile on the face far outweighs what you
Oh,
spend
yeah.
on that bike.
Yeah, that's what I realized a lot because uh, like for instance with my girlfriend, not to out you, sorry, but like she had kind of like a toxic relationship before, and what's it called like I randomly just gifted her flowers one day, and she got so happy about that like she cried, and because it was a really like emotional thing for her to see that somebody just thought about her enough to just buy her flowers out of the blue, and that impacted me a lot because like I thought to myself like wow like this person here, this amazing person in my life hadn't felt the love, hadn't felt the care before of just being like, oh, just thinking about you flowers.
Okay. Again, look at the impact. A simple act. I don't know how much you paid for the flowers. Don't say it because she's right. But you took the time to show you see her, right? And that may be, I don't know what that did to her, but it rose something up. Wow, somebody really cares. And that's what the joy of seeing humanity
Yeah.
and meeting humanity where they are. Okay, I can go into the street and walk alongside somebody who's homeless, and I want to hear their story.
Yeah.
I really do. How did you get here? But I have to be very gingerly, right? Because I
Yeah.
don't want to sound like I'm judging.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I can sit with somebody and I share the story when we had the Sam shelter, and they kept calling this guy named Doc. I'm like, okay, Doc. Well, so after I finished doing my assigned duties, I went into the cafeteria where they're all eating before they settle down for the night, and I found Doc. And I wanted to speak to Doc. Doc, hey, why'd they call you Doc? Well, he said, I got a PhD. Woo! My spider senses are going off. And I'm sitting there, and he shares this story that he was a professor. Wife left him, spiraled downward, showed up to work drunk one day. They fired him. Then he lost his house. Then he's on the street. And then I never forget when he said this. Tell the people you know that we're all one paycheck away from being where he is. And I'm like, it's true, right? But this man was heavily educated. But with the effect of life, bad decisions,
Yeah.
right, spiraled down homeless.
And I think that's something that like happens a lot in our society is that like people have this stigma that like oh college degree and stuff like that I'm set for life. I don't going to worry about anything. I can pay for all of my vices.
Right.
And then it spirals you like for instance like I grew up in an alcoholic home and alcohol it costs a lot like and especially when you're going through a like 12 pack a day or 24 pack a day. Like that money adds up. That's money that you could have saved up to go on a trip somewhere. That's money that you could have saved up to eat somewhere nice. That's somewhere that you could have money you could have saved up in different aspects.
That's the devices, right? I grew up. My parents didn't have alcohol. I mean, they kept it in the house for friends. But
Yeah.
I didn't see them drinking. Maybe a glass of wine every now and again. But then when I got in the military, now I'm 18, right? I'm hanging out with guys, right? And we're drinking. But I came from a grandfather who drank too, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm void of alcohol. I see it. But now after a while, I developed a $500 a month bar tab.
Oh.
Yeah, now I didn't drink it all by myself. I had friends, right? But $500 a month.
Really bad if it was by yourself.
But this is back. Now think about this. It's early '80s, right? I pay it off, run it back up. Pay it off, run it back up. When you look over time, $500 a month, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
But I was, I can resonate with a prodigal son because he had the money, and the Bible said he spent it all with riotous living. I did that.
Yeah.
I had no wife, I had no children, I had money, and I had no little bills, nothing big. So what I was going to do with my money? Spend it on with my friends.
Yeah.
And we're going to run this bar tab up and run it, pay it off, run it up again. But that was my youngish days trying to live life to its fullest. because I thought I was missing something, right? So I understand with people who drink a lot and alcohol. I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah.
I've been there, right? I'm pretty sure people judge me too. However, I'm not there now, and I'm not saying I'm better than somebody else. I decided that one day that this was not going to work for me anymore. I cannot live my life this way anymore.
Yeah.
And I was actually classified in the military as a functional alcoholic.
Oh.
Yeah. Nobody ever, this different military than it is now.
Yeah.
As long as I did my job, I'm good, right? But they know
Yeah.
what I was doing the night before. I was functional, but I was alcoholic. Ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah. And I feel like at some point like in your life, like for instance you said you had no kids, no wife, basically nothing to like worry about at that point. And then like in the aspect of, like I see like why you would do that and stuff like that. And then like I think for me, like when it came time with my dad, he had kids, he had a wife and stuff like that. And like I think he gotten so used to it whenever he didn't have all that when he did, what's it called, he was already in the habit of it, and he didn't have like the willpower that like you probably did to be like, hey, maybe I should stop. He kept on doing it, and so then when my stepmother crashed the car and stuff like that, oh shoot, we don't have money saved up for a new car because we weren't expecting that. So then it became this whole entire issue of like, well, now we don't have money for the car. Car's busted. We still gotta drive it. And then over time, slowly, we don't have money for our house. We don't have money for this or that. And then it just spirals out of control. And
It does. Man, I've always, and I don't make this, I don't hide this from my kids. My kids know my story. But what would life have looked like for me if I took $500 a month and invested it?
Exactly.
See?
Like,
right?
yeah.
But for me, because I was having fun, right? And my friends around me were having fun. But what changed for me is I started going to church.
Yeah.
Right? I partied hard. Really did. And I'm not trying to make this like glorified thing. I did party hard every single day.
Yeah.
Sundays I didn't go to church, but bingos and that stuff. I went to church 3 days out of the year. Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. That's what, right? But I came out of a very strong religious home. But I partied hard. And at some point in my life, I said to myself, is this all I have to look forward to? There have to be more in life than this. And I started exploring. Then I met my wife, who was in the church. So I would go to church with her every night. But I wasn't trying to be with God.
Yeah.
Right? But then I started finding joy in the church. And I enjoyed going to church and then enjoyed being with my wife. And we had Bible studies together. And we started learning about God. And I was like, this God is okay, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to make some changes. Because what I was doing, truth be told, I lost myself.
Really?
And yeah, I'm getting promoted on my job and, military. But man, I didn't know who I really was. In the military, you do your job and you do everything you're supposed to do and you do it right, you're going to get promoted. But if you ask me who I was during that time, I don't know. My rank was who I was.
Yeah.
And I'm more than my rank. And even matter of fact, when they call you by your name, is your rank and then your last name. Man, I love my first name, right? But I didn't hear it often. And so I have to wrestle with many things. And, I'm like, man, there's got to be more. I know there have to be more. And what is that? And I didn't know what that was.
That's crazy. Like I totally forgot that like in the military that they like call you by your rank first.
Yeah.
And like that probably creates in your head like, oh, I'm this. I'm this rank. This is who I am. And like probably like kind of turn you into like a machine in a way of like.
In one sense, it does.
Yeah.
You're indoctrinated for sure. Ain't no doubt about it. But man, that's why some people when they retire, they struggle.
Yeah.
Right? Because civilian sector is not like the military sector.
Oh no, it's not.
And very much different. I remember one day after I retired, I asked my wife, "Does this match?" I'm like, "My God!" For years I've been wearing uniform. I know what I'm going to wear.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's so much easy. I don't have to figure out, like you looking good today.
Thank you,
I don't
thank
have to get up and try to figure what am I going to wear today? Is it going to match? Is it going to look good? What's the weather like? No, I don't have all of that. And so you go through life as a machine. And very rare do people ask you, who are you? Right?
Yeah.
And what is your aspiration? Because my aspiration was to make more rank. But after that, what else is there? And I didn't have the answer.
Yeah, like what happens when you reach that rank?
Yes,
Like,
what's next?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So I had to do some soul searching and try to find who Trevor was again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's called? We actually just came back from class. What's called? Chaplin had a really good like speech about like the PTSD and stuff like that, and like talking about like also some of like the suicide and stuff like that in the military, and that topic made me think about like I wonder if since like a lot of like soldiers like military personnel think of themselves as a rank more than a person, maybe when they get out and they have to be a person, they haven't developed their sense of self, and then so maybe that's where they feel like lost and alone,
Yeah.
and then it builds on to the suicide thoughts.
And along with the mission and everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
But what
trauma
I
with that.
loved about, I don't know if the class got it, is when he gives the example, he's talking to Jake, and Jake calls him Christian.
Oh yeah.
They're using first names, right?
Yeah.
Not rank. Sometimes the rank can get in the way of developing friendship or developing whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
And so functioning outside of your rank can be hard, especially that's what you're used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that might have also impacted. I'm just gonna say Christian, like a bit more. What was that? Maybe like he had been so used to being called rank that when you hear my first name, it's like wait, hold up.
Yeah.
He really like means this. He's really like serious about this.
Chaplains have that luxury, right? We sit in spaces with people that are very private, and you don't want anything to go between.
Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, my rank could get me through doors. So we have that luxury. And we sit with the officers, right? And you can talk and be personal. You get in certain sectors, it depends on what type of sector you're in. Professors can also have those issues because we're professors, right? And you're students.
Yeah.
And now the professor has an issue. Do I go to my colleague and sit with that colleague, or do I go outside and seek me some help? And that's the professionalism you struggle with, right?
Yeah.
And now when I see my colleagues, certain ones I could call them by first name. I would never call them first name in their classrooms.
Yeah,
I would,
of course,
but I could use. But there was a particular one, I won't give the name. She's no longer. I think she retired now. But when she first got her PhD. She sent me an email, and I responded to her email by calling her by her first name. And then she said, moving forward, you can call me Dr. So-and-so. I was like, oh, interesting, because before that, it was all his first name. So I said, okay, now this is petty. I'm petty. I said, well, moving forward, you call me Reverend Doctor. Right. I wasn't bishop at the time, Reverend Doctor. And I laugh at that now because that PhD changed the relationship. Yeah.
I find it kind of like funny that like you mentioned like the colleague like relationship thing, because my Spanish professor, not gonna say names or anything, but what's called he was talking about how he would talk to this professor, this other Spanish professor, and in Spanish, I don't know if you speak Spanish. No.
Poquito.
What's called, to say like you, it would be like tú. But if like I'm talking to you, you're like higher rank, more authority than me, then I would say ustedes. It's like a more formal way of saying you. And so he would always say ustedes to her, and like speak to her like in the more formal, polite tone. And then eventually she was like, no, you can talk to me as as an equal, as like a person. And what's called that kind of like separated, like broke the barrier.
Yes.
And so like people can build up barriers because of the title, or they can bring it down.
Yes.
And understanding like, hey, you also have a PhD. You don't gotta.
Yeah. And let me give you this quickie. I know we got to wrap it up for this soon. When I became a bishop, and I said to my archbishop, the minute the title starts wearing me, it's time for me to retire.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, the titles, I'm going to do the bishop's things, right? But I should not live for the bishop things.
Yeah.
I'm still, when I get home, my wife tells me, take out the trash. I'm still going to take out the trash, right? I'm going to say, well, I'm the bishop. What? No. A title should not keep you from your humanity. Now, granted, it does give us a certain leeway and leverage, and I know that, and I know how to use that. But when I'm sitting talking to somebody in need, in dire strait, they don't care about my.
Yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt said this, and I know we give this to Rick Warren because he mentioned in his book, but I went back to do the research. Teddy Roosevelt said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Wait, that's actually a really good line.
Yeah, it's a good line.
Yeah.
They don't care how much, you've been to school 15, 18 years, they don't care that. They don't care how many plaques on your wall. Do you really care?
Yeah, do you really care about that person?
Yeah.
And then like when you know somebody that like you truly care about, then that's when they want to start
Yes.
loving you as a person.
If you can demonstrate you sincerely care about me, we could be good. But if you're telling me about your titles and what's on your wall and all your accomplishments, there's times for that. Some days when I'm going to be a guest speaker someplace and they read my bio, this inside of me yells, stop. That's not who I that's not a grand total of who I am.
Yeah.
Right? But I understand in certain settings, people need to know your credibility before they listen to you. I get it, right? But man, sometimes I wish they don't read it. Then you got to live up to this thing, right? And sometimes that's additional pressure. But I really want people to say, I can dazzle you without my title, right? Or I can share this information without my background. And that's the tough, in academic world, that's a very toughie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to like have my like my title of bishop in order to teach you how to do laundry or shave your beard. Like
No, trust me, you don't. Ask my wife, hey, take out the trash. No, I'm the bishop. When she get that
Really
look, she don't care. Yeah, she don't care about that. Oh baby, let's go shopping. No, I don't shop. I'm the bishop. She like she really care about all that. She said, I didn't marry you when you was bishop, okay? So you got, but that guy kind of jokingly said that. But no, we have to be careful titles to not get in the way of, now I understand there's certain honors that have to be, right?
Yeah.
And I understand the boundaries and the protocols, trust me, I do. But in the setting that we sometimes in, the titles can be such a hindrance, and we got to be careful.
Yeah. That's really impactful to know. I have one more question before we end. What's it called? I have it written down, but I luckily remembered it. What's it called? I told my friend in the last video about it, and he's my age, so it impacted him a little bit more, or like in a little bit different level. I would say maybe not more, but a different level because he's like younger. He hasn't had as much of his life to live, and so the question is, if you were to randomly, like, let's say God spoke to you in the night saying that you're going to die a year from now, what would you change differently about how you live your life?
I would tell you what I would do. I would work less and invest more. Not in the markets, invest more in people.
Yeah.
Because the legacy is not how much you accumulate. It's how much you invest in people and seeing them become who God has called them to be. I had the opportunity to speak for at my grandmother's passing, and I looked around the room and I saw my cousins and my uncles, and I said, and I used the word legacy. We all her legacy. She imparted so much into us, and we are living what we're doing. But if she had not imparted into us, we wouldn't be who we are today. And so I want my legacy to be, I saw, I helped, and I increased. I help people to become better. And that will be, yeah, I've done a lot of jobs, and I've done, in military, I did a lot of hours, you don't have set 9 to 5, so much in the military, right? And I invested a large portion of my life serving the country, and I don't regret that.
Yeah.
But I also realized my family sacrificed a lot. And would I go back and join the military? Maybe so. But I don't know if I would do some of the things that I did.
Yeah.
To the detriment of the sacrifices that I did. My youngest, my second girl, I missed her walking.
Oh.
She was crawling, I was gone, come back, she's walking. And those are precious moments.
Yeah.
And the things I would do some things differently, for sure.
Important milestones.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember, when I was studying my undergrad, I did all the military. Now I'm trying to work on my education. And I'm at, they're doing like Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm watching them, but I'm reading a book, right? Because I got this assignment due. So I read a paragraph, look up, but I'm not fully present with them.
Yeah.
And they understood. But at the same time, when I go back and look at certain things I could have done differently,
Yeah.
I could have put a book down and invest more time with them.
Yeah, this question I think was really impactful to me, and again I said it in my last video because I was talking to my friend about it. Because like as a Liverpool fan, you probably heard the news, Diego Jota, he died in a car crash in Spain.
Yeah.
And what kills me about it is just a month before that he won the Nations League with Portugal, and 11 days before he died, he just got married to his girlfriend of 16 years.
I didn't know he got married.
He had gotten married 11 days before he died. Wow. And what's it called? I already had 3 kids. One's like a baby, like infant level. And what's it called? He died in a car crash with his brother and stuff like that. And it was impactful to me because I went on to a trip to Japan. That was like my senior vacation trip. And on the trip was my mom and my brother. My brother, he was roughly around the same age as Jota, maybe like a year less or so. Like I think my brother was like 27, 26, and Jota was 28. And it really impacted me because I was like, we don't know when we're gonna die.
We don't.
And like, you just saw Jota have the highest of highs. He won the league with Liverpool, won the Nations League with Portugal, and got married.
Christian's blocking the.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
We're wrapping up.
And
that question again.
that was Chaplin, the one that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he had these like 3 things that like put him on top of the world, and then it all just ended so abruptly.
And I'm telling you, what I'm experiencing now in my life, I've gotten older. I'm past collecting Social Security.
Which honestly, whenever you told me that, I didn't believe it.
Yeah, it's true. However, I'm seeing a lot of people in my life dying recently, and we all getting older.
Yeah.
And you look at life differently at this stage of life, and what does mortality look like? What is my legacy? Yeah. What can I do different? So that question you've asked is nothing new to me. I've asked this to myself, and my wife and I just talked about it. Yeah. Well, we want to make sure we leave the world in a better place. Definitely our family, because I can control more of my family than I can in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
But I still want to make sure I leave an impact in the world somewhere. I want to be able to do. I'm passionate. I'm very passionate about community. I'm very passionate about people living life feeling safe and people having access to achieve their dreams. I like that. And if I can do anything to help make that happen, yes. But so what does it mean for me to sit at city council and advocate for so-and-so? Yeah, I could do that. I do that, right? Because I'm passionate. Everybody can't, but I have access to. And I don't mind being your voice, being your advocate. Because I really do want, we have a little saying, it's not just my fault no more. It's my fault and everybody else's, right? I want my kids to grow up achieving their dreams and I want your kids to do the same thing. Because if I'm only concerned about my piece of the pie, man, there's more, that's a small portion.
Yeah.
What's gift that God has given me that I can lend to other people to help them achieve their dreams, and not just I got 3 girls and a grandbaby. But all those things are just as passionate and important to me as they are to you.
That's awesome. Like I think like the citizen community that like you talked about, and like of course like looking after your own, but also looking after others. I think it's really impactful and like really like helpful to see that like there are people out there that really want the best for it. Like
yes, I'm around those a lot. I'm around people, and some of these people are more senior than me.
Yeah.
And I look around and I see some people just as young or younger, but we all come to the table to talk about strategy and who we could call upon to help this thing. And I love that, right? Yeah. And sometimes it is frustrating when you sit back and say, "Man, did we not just do this 2 years ago? Did we not do this 4 years ago?"
Yeah.
But the work is continuing, it's ongoing until the end goal is achieved, and it's work, and it can be so disappointing sometimes.
Yeah.
When you think you've made it in these ways, and so we say, that old saying, you take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and sometimes that's what the work is. But as long as you keep moving, eventually you'll wear it down, and I always just say, maybe not in my lifetime, but somebody's lifetime, they will see the end goal.
Yeah. Thank you for like letting me have this interview with you. This was really helpful for me to learn about you and also like learn about like different aspects, like for instance becoming like a bishop, becoming a reverend, and then also like what's it called, work in the military, and all these different aspects that I of course haven't gotten to experience yet. And I hope it's impactful for y'all to see him and see yourselves in him as well.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming out.
Appreciate it.
It was good having
Yes,
an interview
sir.
with you.
Well, I hope y'all enjoy this, and if you don't like it, blame him.
Okay. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content with other people like him, and maybe some that like aren't like him, where you can learn different aspects, learn different cultures, learn different religions, and yeah, can't wait to see y'all next time.